Mr. Whitlock, I'm afraid the optic nerve damage is irreversible. You may never see again. The neurologist's words hung in the sterile air of UCSF Medical Center's private wing. But what shattered Roger Whitlock wasn't the diagnosis. It was the smile that flickered across Lola's face when she thought he couldn't see it. The accident had happened 3 days ago. A delivery truck driver, fallen asleep at the wheel, had slammed into Roger's Tesla SUV at an intersection in Pacific Heights. The impact deployed the airbags and left Roger with severe concussion and what doctors initially diagnosed as traumatic optic neuropathy. For 72 hours, the world had been nothing but darkness. Roger lay in the pristine white hospital bed, bandages wrapping his head, listening to Dr. Martinez deliver the devastating news. Lola sat beside him, her hand resting lightly on his arm. To anyone watching, she appeared to be the devoted fiancée, her face a mask of grief and concern. But Roger had seen it, that brief, fleeting smile when the doctor first mentioned permanent blindness. He'd seen it because, miraculously, his vision had returned that very morning. Dr. Martinez had conducted a private examination at dawn, before visiting hours. The neurologist's face had lit up with professional astonishment. "This is extraordinary, Mr. Whitlock. Your optic nerves have recovered completely. It's rare but not unheard of. The swelling subsided faster than we anticipated." "Don't tell anyone," Roger had said immediately, surprising even himself. "Not yet. I need time to think." Dr. Martinez had hesitated, clearly confused, but ultimately agreed to maintain the fiction of blindness for 48 hours. Now, watching the doctor deliver the false prognosis to Lola, Roger understood why his instincts had screamed at him to wait. That smile. That terrible, revealing smile. "How long until we know for certain?" Lola asked, her voice trembling with what anyone else would interpret as distress. But Roger heard something else now. Anticipation. "We'll continue monitoring," Dr. Martinez said, playing his role perfectly. "But I'm afraid the prognosis is quite definitive. Mr. Whitlock will need to make significant lifestyle adjustments." After the doctor left, Lola remained quiet for several minutes. Then her phone buzzed. "Baby, I need to take this call. I'll be right outside." Through his closed eyelids, Roger tracked her movement across the room. The moment the door clicked shut, he carefully opened his eyes to slits. The hallway was visible through the small window in the door. Lola stood with her back to him. Phone pressed to her ear. Her entire posture transformed from concerned fiancé to something else entirely. He couldn't hear her words, but he watched her throw her head back and laugh. Actually laugh. She gestured animatedly, her free hand moving in excited patterns. Then she glanced back toward his room, and Roger quickly shut his eyes again. When she returned, her mask was back in place. "That was my mother," she said softly. "She's so worried about you. About us." "I'm sorry, Lola," Roger whispered, his throat tight with emotion that had nothing to do with his fabricated blindness. "I'm sorry this happened. I know this changes everything for us." "Don't say that." Her hand found his, squeezing gently, but her palm was dry, her grip perfunctory. "We'll get through this together. For better or worse, remember?" They hadn't even married yet, and she was already lying. That evening, Madison arrived. Roger's sister and Wall Street attorney was one of the few people allowed past the private security Roger maintained even in the hospital. Lola greeted her warmly, playing the gracious hostess even here. "I'll give you two some time alone," Lola said, gathering her designer handbag. "I need to go home, shower, change clothes. I'll be back in a few hours." The moment she left, Madison pulled a chair close to Roger's bed. "Roger, I came as soon as I heard." The doctor said. "I can see." Roger interrupted quietly. Madison froze. "What?" "I can see perfectly. My vision came back this morning." Roger opened his eyes fully, meeting his sister's shocked gaze. "But Madison, I need you to listen very carefully. No one can know, especially not Lola." Over the next 30 minutes, Roger explained everything. The smile, the phone call, the laugh, the instinct that had made him hide his recovery. Madison listened with growing horror and rage. "That bitch," Madison hissed. "I never fully trusted her, Roger. From the beginning, something felt calculated. The way she positioned herself at that Chicago gala. The way she always steered conversations toward your holdings, your investments. I was blind too, Roger said bitterly, just in a different way. I saw a beautiful woman who seemed to love me. I saw what I wanted to see. So what's the plan? Roger was quiet for a long moment. I need to know the truth. All of it. Who else is involved? What she's really planning. If I confront her now, she'll just deny everything, and I'll never know how deep this goes. You want to keep pretending to be blind? Yes. Can you help me? Madison didn't hesitate. Whatever you need, brother. Whatever you need. Are you hooked? Want to see how Roger exposes Lola's betrayal? Hit that like button and subscribe for more dramatic twists. Drop a comment telling us, would you pretend to be blind to catch a cheater? Let's continue. Late that night, after Lola had returned and fallen asleep in the chair beside his bed, Roger lay awake in the darkness. Not the darkness of blindness, but the darkness of betrayal. He could see the ceiling tiles above him, could see the moonlight streaming through the window, could see Lola's sleeping face, beautiful even now, even knowing what lay beneath. His phone buzzed softly. A text from Madison. I've already contacted Matteo. We'll install surveillance tomorrow. We'll find out everything. Roger typed back with one hand, the motion hidden beneath his blanket. Thank you, sis. Tomorrow he would be discharged. Tomorrow he would return to his hilltop mansion overlooking Mulholland Drive, to the life he'd built with a woman who was already planning to tear it all down. Tomorrow the real performance would begin. But tonight, Roger allowed himself to grieve. Not for his vision, that had been restored, but for his trust, his love, his faith in the woman he'd planned to marry. Those things he suspected might be lost forever. He closed his eyes, not because he couldn't see, but because sometimes the darkness was easier than the truth. The drive up Mulholland Drive should have been triumphant. Instead, it felt like a funeral procession. Roger sat in the back of the black Mercedes SUV, Marcus at the wheel, dark glasses hiding eyes that saw everything. The city sprawled below them, a glittering carpet of lights stretching from downtown LA to the Pacific. He'd always loved this view, this proof of empire. Now it felt like evidence of everything he'd built that someone wanted to steal. Almost there, Marcus said quietly. Lola's hand found Roger's knee. Home, baby. Finally home. The word tasted like ash in his mouth. The mansion emerged from the darkness, modern glass and steel cantilevered over the hillside, floor-to-ceiling windows reflecting the night sky. Roger had designed it himself, every angle calculated for maximum light. Now he'd spend weeks pretending he couldn't see any of it. Careful, Mr. Whitlock, a voice said as the car stopped. Andre, already here, already playing his role. Roger let himself be guided from the car, his hand gripping the man's arm. Through his dark glasses, he studied Andre, mid-30s, gym-sculpted, expensive watch, the kind of handsome that came with a hustle. His touch was possessive, not helpful. I've rearranged some of the furniture, Lola announced as they entered the foyer. Made pathways easier to navigate. Andre helped. I bet he did, Roger thought. The scent hit him first. Lola's signature, Joe Malone, perfume mixed with something else. Testosterone. Cologne. Male presence where it shouldn't be. Maybe we should give Roger a tour, Andre suggested. Help him relearn the space. Perfect idea, Lola cooed. They walked him through his own home like he was a child. Roger counted steps, memorized the changes, noted how furniture had been moved not for his safety, but for Lola's convenience. The couch now faced away from his office door. The hallway mirror had been removed. No accidental reflections to reveal him watching. She was smart, but not smart enough. In his bedroom, Roger insisted on resting. The moment the door closed, he opened his eyes fully and texted Marcus. They're here. Both of them. This is really happening. The response came instantly. Madison lands at 8 p.m. Matteo's already in position. We've got you. Roger spent the next hour practicing. He stumbled into the bathroom doorframe. Hard enough to hurt, real enough to convince. He fumbled for his phone, missing it twice before finding it. He stood at the window, his back to the door, listening. Lola's laugh drifted up from downstairs. Then Andre's deeper voice. Then silence that meant whispers. That night, Madison arrived through the service entrance, a ghost in designer clothes. She hugged Roger so hard his ribs ached. "That bitch," she hissed. "That absolute. I know. We're going to destroy her. I know." Matteo came next, Roger's cybersecurity engineer, a thin man with thick glasses and thicker paranoia. He worked through the night, installing cameras in air vents, motion sensors in crown molding, audio recorders behind picture frames. By dawn, every room except bathrooms was wired. "You'll have everything," Matteo promised. "Every word, every movement, every betrayal." Roger watched from his bed as Lola slept beside him, her face peaceful in the moonlight. She'd kissed him good night with practiced tenderness, whispered, "I love you," like she meant it. He wondered if she'd ever meant it. His phone buzzed silently. Matteo, from the guest house, found something. Her phone's been pinging a lawyer's office in Century City. Specialty, conservatorship law. Also traced a wire transfer, $50K to a medical consulting firm that provides expert testimony. "This is bigger than we thought." Roger stared at the ceiling, his jaw tight. She wasn't just stealing his money. She was planning to make it legal. Roger had learned that betrayal had sound. It wasn't loud, no dramatic music, no thunderclap of revelation. It was the soft click of his office door opening at 2 a.m., the whisper of papers being moved, the barely audible tap of a phone camera capturing documents. He lay on the living room couch where he'd fallen asleep, watching television, his breathing steady, his dark glasses still on. Through the narrow space between the frames and his cheek, he watched Lola move through his office like a professional thief. She knew exactly what she wanted. His estate planning folder, extracted from the locked cabinet he'd deliberately left open. His offshore account statements. The file marked Family Trust, Private. She photographed everything, her hands steady, her movements practiced. Then her phone rang. She glanced toward the couch, saw his sleeping form, and answered in a whisper. Yeah. He bought it completely. Blind as a bat. A pause. "Andre's coming over tomorrow. We should have the power of attorney forms ready. Don't worry. Once I'm in control, we'll move the funds through the Cayman account. It'll look like his advisors did it." Roger's heart cracked like ice under pressure. She continued. "The conservatorship petition's almost ready. Dr. Morrison will testify. I've already paid him. 3 medical opinions saying Roger can't manage his own affairs. The judge will have no choice." Another pause. Then, "Baby, by next month, we'll be in Miami. Then Dubai. Roger won't be a problem. Blind men have accidents all the time." Accidents. The word made Roger's blood freeze. This wasn't theft. This was something darker. Lola ended the call, finished photographing, and returned everything to its place. She passed within 3 feet of Roger on her way back to the bedroom, pausing to pull a blanket over him with theatrical tenderness. "Sleep well, baby," she whispered. The moment she disappeared upstairs, Roger opened his eyes and texted Matteo. "Got it all? Every word. Every photo. She's on camera. He's on audio. This is felony fraud, conspiracy, possibly conspiracy to commit murder. We have her. Keep recording. I want everything. Roger, you have enough to end this now." "Not yet. I need to know how deep this goes." The next afternoon, Andre arrived for his first official day as Roger's caretaker. Roger sat in the living room, dark glasses on, pretending to listen to an audiobook. "Mr. Whitlock, it's Andre. I'm here to help with whatever you need." Roger extended his hand in the wrong direction, an act he'd practiced 100 times. Andre corrected the angle with exaggerated patience. "It's okay. We'll get used to each other." Through his glasses, Roger studied the man. Handsome in an obvious way. Gold chain. Expensive sneakers. The look of someone who'd spent his life taking shortcuts. "Lola speaks highly of you," Roger said carefully. "She's amazing." Andre's voice carried too much warmth. "You're lucky to have her." The irony was suffocating. That evening, while Roger pretended to nap, the first camera caught them. Lola and Andre in the kitchen, her body against his hands on her waist. Laughing, kissing, planning. "Once he signs the guardianship papers, he's done," Lola said between kisses. "And if he doesn't, then we go to plan B, the medication route." Matteo left some of his anti-anxiety pills in the bathroom. We could. Lola. Andre pulled back. Are you talking about? I'm talking about freedom, baby. Our freedom. Roger watched the footage later that night. Madison and Matteo beside him. None of them spoke for a long time. Finally, Madison whispered, "We call the police. Now, tonight. This is conspiracy to commit murder." "Not yet," Roger said, his voice hollow. "Roger." I said not yet, because he needed to see the end. Needed to understand exactly what he'd almost married. Needed the world to see what lived behind that beautiful smile. Madison spread documents across the dining table like a general planning war. Legal pads, laptop, 3 phones, a bottle of scotch she'd already started. Conservatorship law in California. She began, her Wall Street attorney voice clipped and lethal. If Lola gets 3 medical professionals to testify you're incapacitated, a judge can grant her temporary control of your finances, your medical decisions, everything. With your blindness and her position as fiancée, she is standing. Roger sat across from her, Matteo to his right, Marcus pacing behind them. The city lights glittered below, oblivious to the conspiracy unfolding in this glass house. "How do we stop it?" Roger asked. "We don't stop it. We let her file." Madison's smile was sharp enough to cut. "We let her commit felony fraud in writing, with forged medical documents, in front of a judge. Then we destroy her." "That's risky," Matteo warned. "If something goes wrong, nothing will go wrong." Madison pulled out another file. "I've already drafted counterpetitions. I've contacted the state bar about the attorney she's using. Thomas Greer, by the way, suspended twice for ethics violations. And I've arranged for our own medical team to evaluate Roger the day before any hearing." "She's also forged my signature," Roger said quietly, "on at least 3 documents. I saw them in my office. Even better, that's identity theft, forgery, financial elder abuse. I'm 52, not elderly. In California, financial abuse applies to dependent adults, which she's claiming you are. Each count carries 2 to 4 years. We stack them, Roger. We bury her." Matteo pulled up his laptop. "I've finished the surveillance grid. 42 cameras throughout the house. Audio in every room except bathrooms. Motion-triggered, cloud-backed up, encrypted. Everything's admissible in court as home security footage." He clicked through screens. Lola in the kitchen, Andre on the couch, both in the bedroom talking in whispers. "I've also cloned her phone," Matteo continued. "Every text, every call, every search. She's been researching how to prove someone incompetent, conservatorship timeline California," and he paused, his face darkening, "untraceable medications that cause disorientation." The room went cold. "She's escalating," Marcus said. "We need to move now." "No." Roger's voice was steel. "We wait. We gather everything. We make this airtight. Roger, she wants to marry me in Vegas next week. Quick ceremony, she says. Romantic, she says." Roger's laugh was bitter. "She wants the legal protection of being my wife before she makes her move. So we let her think she's winning." Madison studied her brother. "You're playing a dangerous game. I'm playing her game. Better. And emotionally, can you handle watching this for another week?" Roger thought of Lola's smile at the hospital, her laugh in the hallway, her body pressed against Andre's in his kitchen. "I can handle it." Matteo's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned, and turned the screen toward Roger. It was an intercepted text from Lola to an unknown number. "Doctor's eval scheduled for Tuesday. Make sure the report says what we discussed. Disoriented, paranoid, needs immediate supervision. I'll wire the other half when it's done." Below it, a calendar invite. "Dr. R. Morrison, home visit evaluation." "That's in 3 days," Madison said. Roger nodded slowly. "Then we have 3 days to prepare our own doctor. Someone legitimate. Someone who'll testify that I'm perfectly competent." "Already done," Madison said. "Dr. Patricia Holmes, neurologist from Cedars-Sinai. She'll examine you Tuesday morning, before Morrison arrives. And the fake evaluation? We let it happen. We record it. We let Morrison commit perjury. Then we add his medical license to the pile of things we're going to burn." Roger stood, walked to the window, and looked out at the city he'd conquered once. Now he'd have to conquer it again, this time against someone who'd shared his bed, worn his ring, and planned his destruction. 1 week, he said softly. 1 week, and we end this. Behind him, his sister, his friend, and his engineer nodded in unison. The trap was set. Now, they just had to wait for her to step into it. The footage was worse than Roger had imagined. He sat in Matteo's makeshift control room, the guest house converted into a surveillance command center, watching his life dissolve frame by frame. Madison stood behind him, her hand on his shoulder. Marcus had left the room. He couldn't watch. Camera 7, master bedroom, 11:47 p.m. Lola and Andre, tangled in sheets that Roger had bought in Milan. Her laugh, his hands, the intimacy of it, not just physical but emotional. The way she looked at Andre was nothing like how she'd ever looked at Roger. "Turn it off," Roger said. "You need to see all of it," Madison replied gently. Camera 12, home office, 2:14 a.m. Lola practicing Roger's signature. 20 attempts on a legal pad, each one closer to perfect. Then the real document, a power of attorney form, comprehensive and irrevocable. Camera 3, kitchen, 4:33 p.m. Andre on his laptop, screen sharing with someone. Bank account, routing numbers. Shell companies registered in Delaware, Wyoming, the Cayman Islands. A spreadsheet titled Asset Transfer Timeline. "She's not stealing," Matteo said quietly. "She's laundering. Look," he pulled up financial tracking software. 3 shell corporations established in the last 6 weeks. Pacific Ventures LLC, Horizon Capital Group, West Coast Holdings. All with identical ownership structures. Her, Andre, and a third party we haven't identified yet. Third party? Roger's voice was hollow. Someone with legal expertise. Someone who knows how to move money invisibly. Matteo clicked through documents. "They've already transferred $200,000 from your auxiliary accounts. Small enough you wouldn't notice. Large enough to fund their operation. How much are they planning to take?" "Everything. Once they get conservatorship, they'll have legal authority to liquidate. Your stock portfolio alone is worth $340 million. Real estate, another $180 million. The offshore accounts." Matteo paused. "Roger, they could drain you completely in under a month." Madison leaned forward. "We have enough. Fraud, identity theft, embezzlement, conspiracy. We call the FBI right now." "No." Roger's jaw was tight. "If we move now, they lawyer up. Evidence gets challenged. They claim they were protecting my interests, that I was incompetent. It becomes he said, she said. Then what do you want?" "I want her to finish. I want every crime documented, witnessed, impossible to deny." Camera 15, living room, yesterday. Lola on the phone, her voice saccharine. "Yes, Judge Morrison. My fiancé is deteriorating rapidly. Sometimes he doesn't even recognize me. I'm so worried." "A hearing next week? That would be such a relief." Roger closed his eyes. The performance was flawless. Oscar-worthy. That night, Lola came to him with news, her face bright with manufactured joy. "Baby, I've been thinking. Why wait? Let's get married this weekend. Vegas. Just us and a few close friends. Something intimate and perfect." Roger, wearing his dark glasses at the dinner table, turned his head toward her voice. "This weekend? Why not? Life's too short. The accident taught me that." Her hand found his. "I don't want to waste another day not being your wife." Behind his dark lenses, Roger studied her face. The smile was perfect. The eyes were dead. "Okay," he said softly. "Let's do it." Her kiss tasted like poison. Later, in the guest house, Madison held up a document. "This arrived by courier an hour ago. Addressed to you, sent to your attorney's office." Roger opened it. Draft conservatorship petition. 3 medical affidavits attached, all stating he was incompetent, disoriented, unable to manage his affairs. Dr. Morrison's signature at the bottom, notarized and official. "These are dated next week," Roger said. "The evaluations haven't even happened yet." "Exactly." Madison's smile was predatory. "She paid for pre-written testimony. That's conspiracy to commit perjury. Federal crime. How do we get this?" "Your attorney is my law school roommate. She made copies before filing. Roger looked at the papers, at the lies, the forgeries, the careful construction of his destruction. Then he looked at the wedding invitation on Matteo's desk, cream-colored and elegant. "She wants to marry me before the conservatorship hearing," he said slowly. "Spousal privilege. Asset protection. If something happens to me, she inherits automatically." "Roger." Madison's voice dropped. When she said accidents, I know what she meant. The room fell silent. "Vegas," Roger finally said. "We end this in Vegas. Publicly. Permanently. I want witnesses. I want cameras. I want the world to see exactly who she is. And then we let the law have her." The wedding invitations went out within 24 hours. Elegant, rushed, suspicious to anyone paying attention. Join us in celebrating the union of Roger Whitlock and Lola Chun. Saturday, 6 p.m., Bellagio Hotel, Las Vegas. "She's moving fast," Marcus observed, reviewing the guest list Lola had prepared. 40 people. Most of them her friends, her colleagues, people she controls. "She needs witnesses," Madison said. "People who will testify she was the devoted wife if anything happens to Roger afterward." Roger sat in his home office, dark glasses on, listening to them plan around him. He was tired of being blind, tired of acting, tired of watching the woman he'd loved reveal herself as a stranger. "Who's on our side?" he asked. "I've quietly reached out to your mother," Madison said. "She'll fly in Friday night. Your college roommate, David. Dr. Chun from UCSF, she wants to be there. And I've briefed Detective Harris from LAPD Financial Crimes. They'll have plainclothes officers at the venue." "Lola doesn't know." "Lola thinks it's her show. Small, intimate, controlled." "What about the reveal?" Matteo pulled out a tablet. "I've edited together the greatest hits. Her ransacking your office. The phone calls. The footage of her and Andre. The forged signatures. The fake medical reports. It's a 12-minute video that will end her life as she knows it. Can we play at the venue?" "Already handled. I contracted with the Bellagio's AV team. Told them it's a surprise tribute video. They'll have a projector ready. All you have to do is give a signal." Roger nodded slowly. "And the police?" "Detective Harris will be in position," Madison said. "The moment the video finishes, she'll move in. We have warrants ready. Fraud, conspiracy, identity theft, attempted conservatorship fraud. Lola and Andre will be arrested on site. This could go wrong in 100 ways," Marcus warned. "Then we plan for 100 contingencies," Roger replied. That evening, Roger's mother arrived. Eleanor Whitlock, 74, elegant and fierce, embraced her son in the foyer. "I never liked her," she whispered. "Something about the eyes. Too calculating." "You were right, Mom. I usually am." She pulled back, studied his face. "Are you sure you want to do this publicly? It's going to hurt. It already hurts. At least this way, everyone sees the truth." Lola appeared at the top of the stairs, her smile freezing when she saw Eleanor. "Mrs. Whitlock, what a wonderful surprise." "Lola." Eleanor's voice was ice wrapped in silk. "I wouldn't miss my son's wedding." "Of course. I just wish we'd had more time to plan. You know how Roger is, so impulsive." Lola descended, kissed Eleanor's cheek with practiced warmth. "We're keeping it intimate. Just close family and friends." "How intimate?" Eleanor replied, her tone suggesting the opposite of approval. That night, Roger couldn't sleep. He stood at his bedroom window, Lola asleep behind him, her breathing steady, and looked out at the Los Angeles sprawl. Somewhere down there, people were living honest lives. Loving honestly. Trusting honestly. He'd been a fool. His phone buzzed. "Madison, final check. You sure you want to go through with this? We can arrest her tomorrow. Spare yourself the wedding charade." Roger typed back, "I'm sure. She wanted a wedding. She'll get one. Just not the ending she planned. You're stronger than I thought, little brother." "I'm not strong. I'm angry." "Good. Use it." He pocketed the phone and returned to bed, lying beside the woman who'd planned his destruction. She stirred, her hand finding his in the darkness. "I love you," she murmured, half asleep. Roger stared at the ceiling and said nothing, because the words she spoke so easily had become weapons. And soon, very soon, he'd show her exactly how much damage words could do. The evidence kept mounting. Each day brought fresh betrayal, caught in perfect high-definition clarity. Thursday, 10:22 a.m. Lola on the phone with someone called T. Yes, the medication is in his vitamins. Just enough to keep him disoriented. By Monday, we'll have a judge's signature, and it's over. Thursday, 3:47 p.m. Andre practicing Roger's signature. Lola, baby, I think I got it. Look, a pause. Yeah, perfect match. How many documents do we need? Thursday, 11:15 p.m. Lola in the bathroom, filming herself in the mirror. Future me, you did it. You're about to be Mrs. Billionaire, and he has no idea. Cheers to playing the long game. Roger watched it all from Matteo's command center, his jaw tight, his hands clenched. Madison had stopped trying to convince him to stop. She understood now. He needed to see everything. Needed to know exactly who'd shared his bed. There's more, Matteo said quietly, pulling up a new folder. Email exchanges between Lola and a travel agent. First-class tickets to Miami, then Dubai. Departure date, next Wednesday. 3 days after the wedding, Roger noted. She wasn't planning to stay married long. Marcus entered with coffee, his face grim. The wedding planner called. Lola's made some last-minute changes. She's moved the ceremony to a smaller ballroom. Capacity 40 instead of 80. Limiting exits. She's controlling the environment, Madison observed. Fewer witnesses if things go sideways. They won't go sideways, Roger said, because we control the reveal. He stood, pacing the small room. Walk me through it again. Every beat. Matteo pulled up the timeline. 6 p.m., guests arrive. 6:30 p.m., ceremony begins. You'll be at the altar, dark glasses on. When the officiant asks if anyone objects, I object, Roger finished. I remove my glasses. I tell them I can see. I give Matteo the signal. The projection screen drops. Video plays. 12 minutes of evidence. Her crimes, her affair, her conspiracy. Everyone sees everything. Detective Harris moves in. Madison continued. She and 2 plainclothes officers arrest Lola and Andre. We have backup officers stationed at exits in case they run. What about legal challenges? Marcus asked. Already filed protective orders, Madison said. I've also notified the Nevada State Bar, the California Attorney General, and the FBI's White-Collar Crime Division. This won't be local news, it'll be national. Roger walked to the window, looking toward the lights of downtown L.A. In 48 hours, he'd be in Vegas, standing at an altar, pretending to marry a woman who tried to destroy him. I almost confronted her last night, he admitted quietly. She was sleeping, and I wanted to wake her up and demand to know why. Why me? Why this? What stopped you? Madison asked. Because the answer doesn't matter. She's either broken or evil. Either way, she chose this. He turned back to them. I loved her. I actually loved her. And that's what makes this so. His voice broke. Marcus immediately stood, gripping his shoulder. You're allowed to grieve, brother. I'll grieve after. Right now, I need to finish this. That night, Roger lay awake again, but this time he didn't watch Lola sleep. Instead, he scrolled through his phone, old photos of them together. Chicago Gala, both laughing. Empire State Building, her tears of joy. Santa Monica Pier, sunset behind them, her head on his shoulder. Had any of it been real? His phone buzzed. Matteo, all systems ready. Cameras charged. Video loaded. Police briefed. Tomorrow, we take her down. Roger replied. Tomorrow, I take my life back. He deleted the photos, every single one, and finally closed his eyes. Because nostalgia was a luxury he could no longer afford. And mercy was something Lola had never planned to show him. The Bellagio's Monet Ballroom was smaller than Roger remembered. Intimate. Elegant. The perfect stage for betrayal. Roger stood in the groom's preparation room. Marcus adjusting his tie. Dark glasses hiding eyes that saw everything. You ready? Marcus asked. I've been ready for 2 weeks. I meant emotionally. Roger didn't answer. Because the truth was he'd never be ready to watch the woman he loved reveal herself as a monster. But he'd do it anyway. The music started. Classical. Romantic. Lola's choice. Roger took his position at the altar, the officiant, a stranger Lola had hired, standing beside him. 40 guests filled the chairs. He recognized none of Lola's friends. But he saw Madison in the third row, her eyes sharp. Saw Marcus near the door. Saw two people he recognized as plainclothes officers near the exits. And there, in the back, partially hidden by a pillar, Matteo, his laptop open, his finger hovering over a button. The doors opened. Lola appeared, and even knowing everything, Roger's breath caught. She wore ivory, elegant, form-fitting, perfect. Her smile was radiant. Her eyes glistened with what everyone would assume were tears of joy. She walked down the aisle, alone. She claimed she wanted no one giving her away, that she came to Roger by choice. The irony was suffocating. When she reached him, she took his hands. Her palms were warm, steady, the hands of someone who believed she'd won. The officiant began. Standard vows, beautiful lies about love and devotion. Roger barely heard them. If anyone here has reason why these two should not be wed, speak now or forever hold your peace. The room held its breath. Roger removed his dark glasses. The gasp was collective, a wave of shock that rolled through the room. Lola's face froze, confusion flickering before fear took hold. I object, Roger said clearly, his blue eyes locked on hers. I object because the woman I'm about to marry has spent the last 3 weeks planning to steal everything I own. I object because she's been sleeping with another man. I object because she forged my signature, conspired to have me declared incompetent, and research how to kill me without detection. Roger, Lola's voice cracked. What are you can't see? I've always been able to see, Lola. Since the morning after the diagnosis. I saw everything. This is insane. She turned to the crowd, tears now streaming, real ones panic-driven. He's confused. The accident damaged his brain. He doesn't know what he's saying. Matteo, Roger said calmly. Show them. The projection screen descended. The lights dimmed. And for 12 excruciating minutes, the room watched Lola's crimes unfold in perfect high-definition clarity. Her rifling through Roger's office. Her phone calls detailing the conspiracy. Her and Andre, intimate and plotting. The forged signatures. The fake medical reports. The shell companies. The transferred funds. Her voice, caught on camera, blind men have accidents all the time. When the video ended, the silence was absolute. Lola stood frozen, her face drained of color. Then she turned to run, but Detective Harris was already there, badge out, 2 officers flanking her. Lola Chun, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud, identity theft, forgery, and conspiracy to commit financial elder abuse. No. Roger, please. Lola's mask shattered completely. I love you. This is a misunderstanding. Roger, please. Andre bolted for the side exit, but Marcus was faster, tackling him before he made it 3 steps. Another officer moved in with handcuffs. Roger watched them both, Lola screaming, Andre silent and defeated, and felt nothing. Just a vast, hollow emptiness where love used to live. Mr. Whitlock, Detective Harris approached. We'll need your statement. Tomorrow, Roger said quietly. Tonight, I just want to go home. Madison appeared at his side, wrapping her arm around him. Let's get you out of here, little brother. As they walked out, Roger glanced back once. Lola was being led away in handcuffs, still screaming his name, still claiming innocence. He turned away and didn't look back again, because some performances, once finished, should never be replayed. 6 months later, Roger stood on the rooftop of his Mulholland mansion, watching the sun set over Los Angeles. The city glittered below, indifferent, eternal, beautiful in its chaos. The trials had been swift. Lola and Andre both pled guilty to avoid longer sentences. She got 7 years for fraud and conspiracy. He got 5. Their accomplice, attorney Thomas Greer, was disbarred and served 2 years. Dr. Morrison lost his medical license and faced federal perjury charges. The media had been relentless. Billionaire's blind revenge, the tabloids screamed. Tech mogul outsmarts gold digger, Forbes wrote. The wedding footage had gone viral. 12 million views in the first week. Roger had stopped reading about it after month 2. You coming to dinner? Madison's voice came from behind him. In a minute. She joined him at the railing, her own wine glass in hand. Mom's making her lasagna, the one you loved as a kid. I'll be there. They stood in comfortable silence, the kind only siblings could share. You did the right thing, Madison said eventually. Did I? Roger's voice was soft. Sometimes I wonder if I should have just walked away. Let her have some money and disappear. Spare myself the spectacle. She tried to kill you, Roger. I know. She stole from you. Lied to you. Betrayed you in every possible way. I know that too. He took a breath. But I also loved her. And that version of her, the one I loved, she's gone. Maybe she never existed. And I'm mourning someone who wasn't real. Madison squeezed his shoulder. That's called healing, little brother. And you're doing it. Inside, the house had changed. New furniture. Different art. The cameras were gone. The surveillance dismantled. Roger had hired a decorator to make it feel less like a crime scene. Therapy helped. Dr. Patricia Holmes, the neurologist who'd become an unlikely ally, had referred him to a trauma specialist. Twice a week, Roger sat in an office in Beverly Hills and talked about trust, betrayal, and the unique pain of loving someone who'd never loved him back. You're not broken, his therapist kept saying. You're healing. There's a difference. At dinner, Eleanor fussed over him the way mothers do. Marcus told jokes. Madison argued about politics. It felt almost normal. So, Eleanor said casually over dessert, "Are you going to tell us about her?" Roger looked up. "About who?" "The woman you've been having coffee with. Tuesdays and Thursdays at that cafe in Silver Lake." "Mom," Madison told me. "Don't be mad at your sister." Roger shot Madison a look. She shrugged, unapologetic. "Her name is Simone," he said quietly. "She's a librarian at the downtown branch. We met at a book signing. She has no idea who I am." "Do you like her?" Eleanor asked. I don't know. She's kind. Genuine. She laughs at bad jokes and reads sci-fi novels and doesn't care about money." He paused. "She's the opposite of everything Lola pretended to be." "So you like her?" Marcus said with a grin. "I'm terrified of her," Roger admitted. "Because what if I'm wrong again? What if I can't trust my own judgment?" Eleanor reached across the table, taking her son's hand. "Then you learn to trust slowly. You build it brick by brick. And if she's worth it, she'll wait." That night, Roger returned to his rooftop. The city still glittered. The sky still stretched endlessly above him. His phone buzzed. A text from Simone. "Found a first edition of Dune today. Thought of you. Coffee Thursday?" Roger smiled, small, real, tentative. "Thursday sounds perfect." He looked out at the skyline, at the lights reflecting off buildings and roads, and lives being lived below. For the first time in months, he didn't see an empire to protect or a betrayal to avenge. He just saw possibility. Sometimes you had to lose the light to see what really mattered. And sometimes, after living in performative darkness, you learned that real sight wasn't about eyes at all. It was about finally seeing the truth in others and in yourself, and trusting very carefully that you could learn to see clearly again.